Scorn by Bama Faustina Susairaj. Bama is the pen name of Bama Faustina Susairaj, who is a teacher, novelist, and a Dalit feminist. She rose to fame with the publication of her novel Karukku in 1992. That is hailed as one of the first autobiographies of a Dalit woman. Apart from three collections of short stories, she wrote two novels, Sangati and Vanmam, that address the discrimination experienced by the marginalized at the hands of the upper class. Scorn is the translated one of Bama's Yelakkaram in Tamil by Sarsa Rajagopal and Andhra Devsan. Scorn reveals not only adults but children are also victims of the caste discrimination even in the school, and how power is misused to ensure the comforts of the upper class at the cost of peace. Paripurnam is greatly shocked to hear from her daughter Chinnapunnu that she won't go to school that day. However, from Kittanammal, she comes to know that she was beaten by the children from the temple street. It was for her asking the lunchbox from Jyotilakshmi from the temple street. As she refused, Chinnapunnu ate the food with Muniamma. But as she dared to ask the lunchbox of Jyotilakshmi, she was beaten. When they complained, the teacher too asked Chinnapunnu why she hadn't asked lunchbox from the kids of her street. So she decides to go to school with her daughter and inquire about this. Having heard the complaint of Paripurnam, the headmaster asks whether she doesn't know the customs of their country. Instead of teaching those customs to her daughter, he asks why she has come there for justice. Paripurnam says when they all study in one school, such things will happen. The headmaster gets angry and says that is why they don't want to admit the children of their street. If she doesn't want to study, get her four piglets. She can look after them, he adds. From the next day, Chinnapunnu begins to sit in class nervously, deciding not to talk to the children of other street. Like her parents, who work in the forest for others, the children in the school have to sweep and clean the whole school for other children. After a few weeks, Komalavalli, who has taught in class 3rd, finds her Pongal festival bonus kept in her purse is stolen. All the slum children are questioned. Finally, the teachers detain Katari, Vellukkannan's son. Vellukannan reaches the school with his men. When their headman asks why they have questioned only the slum children, the headman of the other street attacks him. When Vellukannan asks Katari whether he has taken 3000 rupees, he says that he saw Aravind, the son of the headman of Temple Street, had a lot of money and even bought and ate a packet of biscuits. As they find the money from Aravind, they change their attitude and say, As the teacher has got her money back, Velukannan may take his son and go away. Velukannan's anger knows no bounds. He spits on the floor with all his might and leaves the school. Actually, he spits not on the floor but on the face of the people who even maintain the caste segregation, a social evil among the school children. 2 in the next world. Rajendra Yadav. Rajendra Yadav, who was born in 1929 and who died in the year 2013, a famous Hindi novelist, short story writer, social commentator, is one of the great writers of Indian literature. Yadav is famous for the bold and naked delineation of his characters. The story, The Two in the Next World, was originally written in Hindi as Do Divangat, translated into English by Pratik Kanjilal. It talks about the hypocrisies of Brahmanical society and exposes the atrocities towards the marginalized. Apart from casteism, it exposes the social evil like corruption and dowry debts. The author has used the device of irony throughout the story effectively. One of the two, who is now in the next world after his death, talks to the reader and says how he has reached there. When he was scheduled to undergo a complicated operation in a government hospital, he decided not to be operated by a surgeon from the reserved quota. As he belonged to the upper class, he thought the lower class surgeon may not be capable and skilled. So he did his operation by a young, presentable, and clever doctor in a famous nursing home. Moreover, he also belonged to the upper class as the narrator. Even after the fees and charges took the starch out of the family, the narrator died on the operating table. Only on reaching the next world, the narrator, comes to know that the young doctor has gone through the medical course by greasing palms with lakhs in cash and grabbing the feet of ministers and officers. Moreover, after that, he has collected a dowry worth crores for his marriage and has set up the nursing home that fatally attracted the narrator. Unfortunately, the doctor's young wife has also committed suicide as she has failed to get enough money from her parents to meet her husband's needs. The young doctor is going to have a second marriage and a huge dowry. His first wife must be somewhere there in the next world. The narrator decides to find her and strike up a friendship with her. Thus, the story ends and makes the readers think about the social evil like casteism, corruption, and dowry debts. The Bride's Pyjamas, Akhtar Mohin-Ud-Din. Akhtar Mohin-Ud-Din, who was born in 1928 and who died in the year 2001, is a well known Kashmiri short story writer and novelist, famous for his idiomatic language and sensitive treatment of plots. He was awarded Sahitya Akademi Award in 1958 for his first collection of short stories, Satsangar. His Bride's Pyjamas deal with a love story between an old man, Nabir Shalla, and his wife, Cotton Didi. This is a story that reduces age into just numbers. Nabir Shalla, a septuagenarian, is an efficient shawl maker who lives in a wooden house on the banks of Jhelum with his wife Cotton Didi. The couple lost 8 of their children. Their 2 daughters live with their husbands and children nearby. When the story begins, Nabir Shalla sings his favorite rhyme and repairs a patch of rabal, shawl like cloth. Cotton Didi is also there, busy with the spinning wheel. As he needs the scissors to cut the cord of the darning patch, he asks Cotton Didi to bring it. When she searches for it in the shelf, she sees the bag where old clothes of her children kept. She remembers her children one by one, and her eyes fill with tears. However, a pair of rose red pyjamas that she had worn on her marriage day takes her to the memories of her youth. On seeing this, Nabir Shalla asks her to wear it, but Cotton Didi is not ready to wear it. Nabir Shalla goes out and brings a pound of mutton and asks her again to wear the pyjamas. Then Cotton Didi agrees to do so. Nabir Shalla mounts a pot on the hearth to boil the mutton, humming his favorite rhyme. Having worn the pyjamas, Cotton Didi tries to sit near her husband without making any noise, but her foot caught into a mat string and she falls down with a thud. Nabir Shalla holds her arm and helps her to get up, but Cotton Didi shakes her head and not ready to get up, totally abashed. When Nabir Shalla begins to tease her amorously like a newlywed, both forget that all their teeth fallen and they are old. When they hear a knock at the door, Nabir Shalla runs back to his place and sits as if nothing happened. It is their elder son in law who is shocked to see their amorous struggle and Cotton Didi's wearing pyjamas. However, he retraces his steps without saying a word. When Cotton Didi looks guiltily at her husband, Nabir Shalla asks, as it is their home, there is no any need to feel guilty. Thus, the story reduces age into just numbers. The Night Train at Deoli, Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond, who was born in 1934, who is known for his simple yet astute, indulgent, and engaging writing style, has authored more than 500 short stories, essays, and novels. He was awarded Sahitya Academy Award for Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra in 1992. He was conferred with Padma Shri in 1999 and Padma Bhushan also in 2014. The Night Train at Deoli is a short story that is taken from the book The Night Train at Deoli and Other Stories that was published in 1988. The story reveals the meeting between the young and college going Ruskin Bond and a girl who sells baskets at the Deoli train station. When Ruskin Bond was at Delhi College, he used to spend his summer vacations in Dehra with his grandmother. Once, on his way to Dehradun, when the train stopped at Deoli at 5 a.m., a small town at the foothills of Himalayas. Deoli had only one platform, an office, a waiting shed, a tea stall, a fruit vendor, and a few stray dogs. The train would start only after 10 minutes, though there was no one to get off and get in. However, the 18-year-old Bond saw a girl came down the platform selling baskets. Though her feet were bare and clothes were old, she walked gracefully with dignity. Her dark, searching, and eloquent eyes met Bond's eyes. Without saying anything, she moved on. When Bond walked towards the tea stall, the girl followed him and asked whether he needed a basket. When he said no, she asked again whether he didn't want one. Hearing this, Bond gave a rupee and bought one. When she was about to say something, the god blew his whistle. So he had to run back to his compartment. Bond looked at the girl, who was looking at him smiling, until the signal box that hid her from the view. 2 months later, on his return journey, on seeing her walking up the platform, he waved to her. She smiled. Both of them were pleased. Without going down the train to sell baskets, she followed him to the tea stall. On seeing her dark eyes filled with light, Bond took the baskets from her hand and put them down on the ground. Holding her hand, he said that he had to go to Delhi. She answered that she didn't have to go anywhere. When the guard blew the whistle, she ran to his compartment, saying that he would come again, and asked whether she would be there then. Then she nodded. But on his way to Dera, he couldn't see the girl at the platform of Deoli. He ran up to the station master and then to the tea stall owner to know about the girl. But he couldn't get any information about that girl. Though he decided many times to spend a day at Deoli to make enquiries about the girl, he didn't do that. Actually, Bond was afraid of discovering what really happened to that girl. Bond prefers to keep hoping and dreaming of meeting the girl with the baskets one day. Thus, the story leaves an indelible emotional and psychological imprint in the minds of the readers too at the end.